What's going on, Nerd Nation? It's your friendly neighborhood Nerd King Mac Taylor here for an intro to the next little podcast in our ongoing series about YouTuber movies. On this particular podcast, we do talk about the movie Airplane Mode from 2019. And man, watching some of these bad movies is it's fun to have the conversation about like how bad they are and like getting to talk to Olivia about how how much we dislike them or things that don't work or maybe a couple of things that do work, finding those little nuggets of comedy in there. But there are a few corrections I wanted to make before we start the pod, as well as just kind of do a little rundown like I normally do. So there was a part in the pod where I can't remember the name of Michael Caine when I talk about him taking the bag in Jaws the Revenge. I couldn't remember his whole name, and I apologize for that. It was Michael Caine. The whole time I'm like, I should have Googled it. I Googled like two other things during this pod, but I didn't Google that. Dumb of me not to do, but it was Michael Caine. Another thing is that I was trying to point out, like, yes, this is a comedy movie, so characters don't really have. There's not a big plot thread. Most characters exist for the beat of the jokes. But the reason why it doesn't work for me here is because in the original Airplane, they're all strangers on an airplane, so it would make sense that random people don't really communicate with each other unless they're sitting like in close proximity to each other. Whereas in this one, a lot of the influencers are supposed to be friends, and they never really communicate. So that's why I thought it was weird. Not that because this is a comedy and they need to involve the plot, it's just that they're supposed to be a group of friends, and once they get on the plane, they never interact with each other, and that's kind of strange, right? Also, when I was talking about Vitaly, I did misspeak about his charge. So I said domestic assault, and it's actually just a random woman who was jogging, apparently, who he was accused of beating. And it seems like the case was eventually dismissed, but it seemed pretty sus in the situation for bad. So I would say alleged woman beater, not domestic assault. So that, when you hear that, reference back to this on that one as well. Still a shitty person, just a slightly different. We don't want to wrongfully accuse anyone of a charge, right? We want to get the exact thing right. And the exact thing was that he allegedly beat a jogger, not his wife, because I don't even know the guy's married. And also, we were going back and forth on Sky Marshal. Like, I even said Sky Marshal, but it sounded weird. Sky Marshal is like the cop on the plane. So those are just a couple of small things I wanted to quickly go over before the pod. Also, when it comes to most of these influencer movies, I'm not a big... growing up, I was never really into the influencer space. I was more of a just like film, television guy. I wasn't like on YouTube. Like the YouTubers I were watching, it was for like Angry Video Game Nerd and people who did like movie reviews and stuff. I wasn't watching the Paul brothers. I wasn't watching Vine at all. So a lot of the people in this, I have no idea who the fuck they are. And so that's why having Olivia on the pod is key here, because she fills me in on who a lot of these people are and kind of the things that they didn't do kind of deal. Helps me get some extra context other than the shitty movie that they were all a part of. So yeah, that's kind of the information we needed to get out on the table. So without further ado, let's get into what you came here for, and let's listen to us tear a new asshole in Airplane Mode. Hello and welcome to the Film Vomit Podcast. You gotta be able to switch it. You gotta be able to go. All right, I'll do it again.
No, that's good.
Okay, we'll just leave this all in.
Just keep going.
An extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor, and with me today is hand soap enthusiast Olivia.
No! Don't expose me like that.
And we are here to begrudgingly continue our YouTuber movie rabbit hole as we discuss the 2019 film Airplane Mode, created and centered around Logan Paul. This was originally, I think, supposed to be released earlier, but the whole Suicide Forest thing came up, and they were like, we can't put this out right now, and then so it waited. Because I think they shot this in, like, 2017.
It has 2017 vibes.
And then so they released it like a whole like 2 years later because they had to wait for some shit to die down.
Yeah. And what exactly did they have to wait for it to die down?
So that people would like, because there was a little bit of time, because the internet's attention span is so low, where people were like, oh, I guess it's fine that he filmed that dead body.
I have not forgotten about any of the bad things these people have done. So
So airplane mode is essentially just a douchey internet version of the movie Airplane. Like they even rip off like the airplane poster, but the airplane is dabbing.
yeah, well, dab on the haters.
And again, this is 2019. Again, it was 2017 when they were filming.
Everyone in my middle school was dabbing.
And I never got the allure. You just kind of look dumb.
Do it.
I'm not doing it.
Do it.
You can do it.
No.
Oh, it's okay for me to do, but it's not okay for you to do.
You'd look cooler doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure I would. So, and there was like this span of time where like Logan Paul was acting a lot.
Acting like a good person, yes.
Because he was in a lot of like low budget horror films around this time too. Like he was popping up a lot.
He was in The Thinning, which was named after his hair, and it had the one girl from Disney Channel in it, but I cannot remember her name. I don't have anything against her though. I just can't remember her name.
Yeah. So airplane mode. I get what they were trying to do with this movie. They were trying to be like, take a bunch of popular YouTube stars and have them just do, but it's like we talked about with Not Cool. It's like when you take 10, 15, 20-minute YouTube videos comedy, but like try to stretch it out to a feature film, it's kind of dumber than it already is. It doesn't really work that well. And I think because like a lot of like kids aren't watching this because they can't, or their parents won't let them watch this movie. So like the wide audience you're trying to appeal to doesn't really give a shit about it, because they're just gonna be like, yeah, this, like, I've pretty much every review I've seen of this movie is like, this movie is awful, it gave me cancer, like things like that. Like it's a well, the exact quote was airplane mode gave me a terminal disease, which was like, kind of.
What's so funny is that I went through and I screenshotted my favorite IMDb reviews, and I screenshotted that same one.
Okay.
Because it's just so good. It's so good. You know, there's a good worst movie ever. Good. To the point, even you do this podcast anymore. That's it. Worst movie ever.
And this movie's only an hour and 20 minutes.
And it feels so much longer.
And it feels like it was longer than Not Cool.
It feels like it's a whole, like, a good 2.5, like, Avatar length.
Oh God, could you imagine?
Avatar length of Logan Paul. I would literally rather walk into traffic.
And Jake Paul was absent from this project, I think, because in 2017, was he still on Bizaardvark?
What?
That was the Disney Channel show that he was on. That's what they were referencing when he's like, "Where's your brother?" And he's like, "Disney got him."
Oh, then yeah. Probably 2017. Well, let me think. 2017, I was in 7th grade.
I'm just gonna look up really quickly the run of the show Bizaardvark.
So for sure, because I remember a girl in my social studies class had Jake Pauler merch. Lazy fandom name.
Yeah, Jake Paulers and the Low Gang.
Low Gang's actually, like, okay, I get it. Like, it's a play on your name. Low Gang, you know, you. But I get it. Jake Pauler, kind of lazy. You could have done something so cooler. You could have done, like, I don't know. That's not my job to decide what he's supposed to do, but it could have been better.
So, yeah, Bizaardvark ran from like 2016 to 2019.
Oh, that's kind of a long time.
It ran for 3 seasons, but Jake Paul wasn't on the 3rd season. So yeah, around this time he was still under contract with Disney, which is why he couldn't appear in this movie, because Disney's like, no, you're not going to do a raunchy sex comedy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Then yes, but he is one of the screenwriters.
Yes, which duh. This is very Paul brother comedy.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of shouting, bodily fluids, slow-mo shots.
They had to rub their collective walnut-sized brain together to spark an idea, and the only idea that came off was something that already exists, so then they had to take it and make it worse.
Yeah, like, and the thing about Airplane is, like, yeah, there's a lot of jokes in Airplane that have not aged well, but Airplane came out in 1980. This came out in 2019. You know, it's a big, like, with Airplane, you could be like, yeah, those jokes, some of those jokes didn't age well, but it's also, a lot of it is still really funny, because I rewatched Airplane like a month ago, and very funny, very quick beats. Leslie Nielsen is an icon.
I think the humor in it, and I don't know why, kind of reminds me of Clue. Does that make any sense?
I mean, it's very
Clue vibes.
Witty, snappy.
I could have went with it and been like, yes, it's exactly like Clue.
Sure, whatever floats your boat. Whatever flies your plane.
I hated that.
So we start off with like this airplane safety animation, which could have been pretty good in like a not this movie.
Could have been good if it wasn't him doing it.
Yeah, like if it was like a decent movie, like this would have been like a creative opening.
Yeah.
But it kind of sets up pretty early how low ball we're doing the comedy for this movie. And it's like, I think this movie, like, there was a lot of, because I was watching some snippets of The Chair, and there was a lot of people talking about how racist Not Cool was, but I will say Airplane Mode, a lot more egregiously racist than Not Cool.
Yeah. I think it hits different, though, because the character, what are you talking, which racism are you talking about?
Specifically with, like, the terrorist jokes that they throw in here, and the immigration jokes that they throw in here. I mean, one character literally exists just to joke that he's Mexican.
Yeah, which is interesting because he is, like, in real life, and I'm like, why did that confused? Maybe it's me to him, I don't know, but like,
yeah, I mean, obviously he's signed off on doing this movie, but yeah, it feels just very gross.
Yeah.
But it seems, because the Pauls are very frat bro-y, and this feels like how like a frat would treat like their one Latino member.
Yeah. Just like, this is our token. We can be racist because we know him.
But they don't do any black jokes with King Batch.
Which is interesting. I think that's honestly just because King Batch, he seems to be more of a serious actor. I wrote down that he's
done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like he's done
like The Babysitter on Netflix, which was a pretty good movie.
To All the Boys I've Loved Before, he did Blackish. Like, he's kind of, seems like he wants a serious career as an actor, whereas Logan and Jake Paul are.
Because I'll go ahead and talk about it now, but King Batch's character in this movie, very inconsequential, has zero influence on any of the plot whatsoever.
Well, that's like 90% of the characters. They don't like influence the plot in any way. I don't even think the main characters.
For a group of influencers, they sure don't influence this plot.
They do not be influencing nothing at all. They might as well not even be in the movie.
Yeah, but he'll like, I forget he's in it sometimes, and then he'll pop up in like one random snippet, and then they'll cut away to like something else.
I know, I'm like, hey, he's in the movie. I forgot about that.
So yeah, we do that, and then after the animation, they immediately do like what is very reminiscent of like the time of YouTube. Like, it's very like, there's techno music, there's like, it's very colorful, and it seemed like an opening of a Paul brother video.
Yeah, Shane Dawson did this a lot too. In his old vlogs. It was just that era.
Yeah, it's very early YouTube.
Like Skrillex was making every soundtrack to every movie that came out in this time somehow. I don't know how he did it, but he did. He was carrying the weight on his back. He was cinema.
And then, so we talked about in Not Cool how like Shane was playing like the opposite of what he is, and it felt weird and forced. And Logan's doing the same thing because Logan's trying to play like the lovable loser, but he's Logan Paul. He's the biggest jockey douche that like exists on the internet. And you're going to try to tell me like he's the lovable loser character? Like, fuck yourself.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I'm scared of flying. Get over it. My dad's scared of flying. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, yeah. So we'll talk about it here too. Is that his whole fear of flying is because he like tried to like literally fly and like broke his legs. But it's like you jumped out of a tree that is completely different than like a plane.
Yeah, and like I get that's the joke, but at the same time,
I know, but it's not a good joke.
It's not,
and it's
good.
something they really like to hammer. Like they love the shin or the femur bone bit because they literally play on it 3 times.
Yeah, not only that, but I just like, how many times do they do a flashback to that specific scene? It's more than twice. It's 2 times too many.
It's 3 times, I think. Well, they also do like where he hears like in his head, like well, we don't see it. It's too much.
It has nothing to do with anything though, because like
they could have just shown it the one time, and then that's fine.
Yeah, like we would have been like, oh yeah, like it's just that thing that a lot of times people do, and by people I mean Shane Dawson and Logan Paul, where they will like, they think the audience is dumb and they need to hold their hand through every single joke, and that's literally just because their audience is.
To be fair to Logan, though, most of his audience is like literal toddlers and children, so you do kind of have to walk them through. But again, they're probably not watching this movie.
I hope they're not.
We can kind of treat them like normal people. Like it's not just a bunch of kids on iPads watching Airplane Mode. I hope
just the stickiest iPads. Driest iPad.
So Logan is FaceTiming with his Australian girlfriend, and
who is played by Lauren Swickard.
Yeah, and it said she
done anything
credited as like a different name. So it's like, did she even want to be? Is she like, I'm not putting my name on this?
No, that's one thing I did find pretty interesting. Is it seems like all of the influencers went by their actual names in the movie, whereas
except for her.
Yeah, except for her, and then like Nick Swartzen went by.
Well, Nick Swartzen's not an influencer; he's an actor.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like the influencers went by their
because they're playing an accentuated version of themselves, which again on paper wouldn't necessarily be a bad movie if someone better wrote the script. Like someone who's not an influencer wrote the script.
Yeah,
like it could have been very like bodies, where it's like a big joke about it. But because you let the people who you're trying to kind of make fun of write the script, it feels just not good.
Not good.
So yeah, they're doing like FaceTime. They're trying to like, do stuff over there. But Logan has like his door unlocked. And it's like the middle of the day. It's a bad. People keep walking in. Well,
can we talk about Lele Pons?
Yes.
I do not like her. I cannot stand her. I don't know why, and I feel bad because I don't really have a reason. She just ignores me. But what am I looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? Irritates me? She just irritates me. I don't know, but she was in Dora.
Well, her role in this movie is slapstick comedy. Like she does a lot of physical gags.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think
she's like fighting Logan. She's falling on the floor a lot. But she doesn't
spends more time on the floor.
Yeah. But she doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Other than that. She just exists to cut away to a
None of them do. None of them do anything. It's actually almost kind of impressive that none of them do anything, yet they are still in the movie.
And this Australian girlfriend who like Logan's supposed to be like in love with and like the one, We see her in the opening. He mentions her like once on the plane. We don't see her for the rest of the movie until the very end, where he is already not gonna be with her.
Yeah, she was a complete throwaway character. Also, not Australian in real life, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, they do a very stereotypical Australian everything.
Yeah.
in this movie, and there's a couple of jokes that they mentioned Jake Paul, but there's a couple of jokes that I found not horrible.
Okay, share them with me.
And the one that I found funny is that everything's labeled in Logan's drawer. Not the nut milk thing, that's very dumb and not funny, but that everything was labeled in the drawer. And then when we cut to her killing the spider, everything in her drawer is labeled.
Yeah, okay, that was.
And it says like spider stick. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I know that the joke with the nut milk is like, oh, he keeps the nut milk next to his socks. Ha ha ha. But it just comes across very dumb. Like I said, the thing that they're not trying to call too much attention to is what I actually found funny in the scene.
Yeah.
And somebody meet, is his name Juan? It's like Wanpa?
Yeah, Wanpa.
It's like Juan with the big PA at the end. Because I thought that was like his like name in the movie, but it's his actual name.
Yes.
And he only exists in this movie to, again, they joke about him being Mexican a lot, and that he's a virgin, and that his whole entire character drive in this movie is to get laid. And that's it. That's what he does.
Yeah, that's literally it. Super original.
And then so like all these influencers who were just like at Logan's house.
Yeah, they're just for some reason they're all hanging out. No big deal.
They come upstairs and they're like, we're going to #Tagacon.
It's like, why did nobody tell Logan before this? You would think like the first one to know.
And also like you couldn't have said VidCon, like, you know, like an actual convention. #Tagacon sounds like such a fucking like, it sounds like something that was written by 40-year-olds.
Yeah. So like, we're gonna go on InstaFace, #Tagacon. Okay, super cool. You're literally 60. Please get a life.
Right, but it was written by probably Logan Paul. So it's like, what? Why did you think? Because I know that sometimes with social media things are not allowed to use the names because like rights and stuff, but like VidCon is probably begging for the publicity.
Well, you also have to think this is the same time as the Suicide Forest.
So maybe they're like, do not fucking mention us.
No, John and Hank Green know better.
So yeah, they do that gag. They do a lot of Logan trying to jerk off essentially and getting it. Like Lele Pons comes in, takes a picture of him, and then they just start fighting like an all-out brawl.
Yeah, well, it's really fun to walk into your friend's personal space and then
she puts a ladder up to his window.
Yeah,
but like,
and
what
then take a picture.
Yeah,
sexual assault is really funny in this movie. Comedy. Yeah.
There's not as many rape jokes as not cool, but there is still like too many, which is like one. You know?
There is one too many, and there's just one.
That is the one.
just the one that we needed to cut out.
This movie could have been like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, wait, can I say something? Can I do a preface?
Go ahead.
I need to get my rant out of the way.
Go ahead.
Because once we start, we're gonna be talking about this person, and then it's gonna be like, oh no, I'm just gonna have to pretend like I don't absolutely hate this person.
Okay. Go ahead.
So like halfway through, are you vaping?
Yes.
Okay. I just smoke in the corner of my eye, and I was like, do I need to call someone?
Go ahead.
I have a whole page of notes about how much I don't like this person. Okay, so about halfway through, we meet this character who gets on the plane with them, but he's very inconsequential, like most of the characters are. Curtis Lepore. Are you familiar with him? Okay, he's the one with all the tattoos, and he like looks like an American doll was turned into a real person by a witch.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Can you Google him? Because I need you to know.
Like who? What was he in the movie? Like what?
He was himself. He did nothing. None of them do anything.
Was he just like in the background?
Kinda. I mean, like, he was in the movie, like,
Is it
doing
Curtis with a C or a K?
a C. Ew.
Curtis what?
Lepore.
Lepore.
Just look at the picture. Don't scroll.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know who this person is.
See? And that's what is the thing, is that every single character in this movie is so inconsequential and barely does anything that you can literally go through the whole movie, look at a picture of the character after you watch the movie, and immediately forget who they were.
Well, I know they were trying to do like some Easter egg stuff, like, oh, these big people in it, like people that are really big into YouTube, but
No, because here's why I'm mad.
Go ahead.
Curtis Lepore, I hope he's watching this. I'm about to be serious.
Story time with Olivia.
Curtis Lepore, if you're watching this, you can suck my ass. I swear. No, I'm being so serious. I actually genuinely hate this man. Well, okay, first of all, and this is why I hate Logan Paul and Jake Paul and pretty much every single other person that's in this movie, is that Curtis Lepore is a known rapist and was convicted of, he pled guilty, had a signed confession, pled guilty in 2014.
Oh, way before this movie was shot.
Yes, and everyone in this movie, I'm looking at you, Logan Paul, Lele Pons, King Batch, Amanda Cerny. I'm looking at all of you. You all continued to be in the movie with someone who is a known rapist. I hope none of you have to experience being assaulted, or you know anyone that's been assaulted, because clearly you are not a good person to be around if you're actively just around Curtis Lepore, who then like went on Twitter and was like, man, she was lying. Boy, you signed a confession. You pled guilty. You know what you did. All right? And you know what? He does have me blocked on Twitter because he was on Twitter trying to change the story around like years after he like pled guilty and everything, and I was like, boy, you're a rapist, shut up. And then he blocked me. And that is the best thing I've ever done in my life. I hope he lays awake at night and knows that nobody likes him and nobody wants to be around him except for Logan Paul. And nobody cares about what that frat boy likes, okay? He's literally pretending to be a wrestler right now or something. I don't even care. Maybe you shouldn't film dead bodies in a forest and hang out with rapists. Then more people watch your stupid movie. Okay, I think we can continue.
Okay, I was making sure you were done. I didn't want you were on a roll there.
Oh, as of August 2016, he was the 7th most popular Viner. Imagine that being your only good thing you've done in your life. The 7th most popular Viner in August of 2016.
Who is the
I don't know. Probably Logan Paul.
I feel like Logan Paul was in the top 5, probably. He was pretty big on Vine. Yeah, so basically, Curtis Lepore, screw you. I hope he's watching this. I hope this finds him somehow, some way. Go to hell, along with everyone else in this movie. But yeah, like I was expecting you to say, like when you said you like someone blocked him on Twitter, I thought it was gonna be like someone I knew, but you're like you said a name. I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Exactly. Nobody knows who he is because he's
the 7th most popular Viner in 2016.
Garbage. Yeah, how do you not know who he is? He was the 7th most popular Viner in August of 2016.
An app I never used.
I did, and I watched him too.
Well, there were some good people that came out of the Vine. There's a better Curtis that came out of Vine, being Curtis Connor.
That is true. David Dobrik as well.
David Dobrik is. I mean, he did almost kill a guy in a crane.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm saying David Dobrik is one of the bad ones.
Oh, I thought you were saying, like, David Dobrik's one of the good ones. I was like, ooh, hot take.
Yeah, hot take. David Dobrik is my favorite YouTuber. Hashtag Vlog Squad.
Okay, we'll go ahead and talk about him, because David Dobrik in the movie, the gag is he's sitting next to an old lady who's, like, essentially trying to sexually assault him. And
that's a funny thing for everyone in this movie, apparently.
Yeah. But like he like disappears like midway through the movie. It's like they only had him for like an hour.
Yeah. Well, he
So
had to
they
go film his vlog.
right. So they
was
quickly
busy.
like filmed his scenes and then we're like, all right, he's gone. So like if you like toward the end of the movie when there's chaos in the cabin and everyone's like doing their thing, he's not there.
That's the thing. The continuity in this movie is below bad. It is in hell.
Well, there was a lot of opportunity for jokes, like if you're thinking from a gag perspective. Like they could have kept that thing with the old lady and him going. Like if everyone thinks the plane is going to crash, he might actually like hook up with her, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
They made a point to show like the dwarf wedding, and like, but they did nothing with those characters besides hit the guy with the crowbar.
I
So
mean,
like, again, like they had opportunities to do more. Like if you're gonna go for lowball gags, do the gags because it's like the gags that they went for weren't even the better gags.
mm-hmm. Yeah, David Dobrik though, interesting is that he just opened a pizza place.
Yeah, Dobrik's Pizza.
Yeah, which I hate that that's kind of a clever name.
It is kind of clever.
I will give him that was clever. And he was in Birds 2. He was in Birds 2 and soon to be Jail because he almost killed his friend. So that'll be his next endeavor.
Coming soon to prison.
Coming soon to David Dobrik because he's a horrible piece of garbage. Anyways, why do I hate everyone in this movie? Can we get to someone I like?
Well, I was going to point out because I want to make a point of it now, so we don't have to talk about it every time it comes up. But like, even though Logan Paul is playing the lovable loser character, he loves to point out the fact that he can do the splits. Like he does the splits like 7 times in this movie. And it literally, there's no reason for it at all. Like at one point, Amanda Stern, he's like coming into the seat and he's like, "Oh, here, let me help you." And he like puts his leg up. He's like, "Does this help you at all?" It's like, what a fucking like douchey brag that you just try to throw in this movie as many times as you possibly can. Like, fuck you. Dude.
No one cares. I did gymnastics for 10 years.
And you're just
I can
like,
do this split.
"Oh, here, let me get out of your way real quick." Like,
yeah, just real fast.
Yeah.
Like
during a fight scene with Vitali, he splits like and he's hanging on by like his feet. Like it happens a bunch. I'm like, we get it. You can do the split for fuck's sake. Like it's like every scene he's like, "All right, guys, but like this is great and we're doing good stuff here. But what if? How about that?" And then, it's like, fuck off, dude.
What if I just show my whole little weenie to everyone? Great, Logan. We haven't seen it before.
It was because at first I was like, all right, he can do the splits. He threw it in there, but like it kept happening, and I was like, okay, Logan.
I love that you brought that up because I didn't think about how many happened until you did that, and like 5 like just plastered in my mind, and I was like, oh my god, he does it a lot, like an ungodly amount.
I noticed it the first time. Like by like the 3rd time it happened, I was like, for fuck's sake, we're not even halfway through the movie yet.
Oh no.
Like I thought for a second he was gonna have to like land the plane like by doing the splits or something. Like
yeah, he's on the tarmac. Like
this way. Like
see, that would have been funny. Like God. That would have been funnier. They should have hired us and we would have.
Yeah, because it's like if you want to make a shitty YouTube movie, at least make like a passable shitty YouTube movie.
At least make it look like it was done on purpose.
Like this actually kind of feels like they're in on the fact that they did a dumb movie, but in this one it's like, oh, they kind of tried to make a normal comedy and it failed.
And now we don't feel bad for him, but it's secondhand embarrassment, really.
No one should ever feel bad for any of the Pauls.
No one should feel bad for anyone in this movie.
Yeah, they're all
I'm
fine.
looking at you, Curtis Lepore. Me and him have beef. I'm being so serious. I hate him. Anyways. Moving on.
So we talked about that. We also see Logan's now deceased bird, Maverick.
What?
His bird?
The bird died?
I'm pretty sure.
Hang on. No way.
Because he made it like, yeah, he made it his whole brand, but I'm pretty sure there's a pretty long history of dead pets.
Yeah, wasn't he the one that like
left the pig? Yeah. But also, I think one of his dogs got eaten by another dog.
What?
Like he's had like 5 or 6 pets that have died.
Ben.
What? What?
The bird was eaten by his dog.
Okay, so yeah, that bird in the movie, that's his actual bird, was eaten.
His bird was eaten by his dog July 5th, 2019, and this movie came out August 2nd, 2019.
So right after his bird died, and it wasn't even dedicated to the bird.
Rest in peace, Maverick, bro. Imagine having to spend your 7 years of life with Logan Paul. I would shoot myself.
Constantly just being like, look at this fucking bird fly around here. There's fucking
I would, like,
everywhere. Like bird paparazzi. He's like, Jesus, I'm not
God.
Polly.
God, real hell. I know he's a new bird. Looks like a pigeon. No offense to the bird, but it does look like a pigeon. Oh no, that's sad.
Yeah. I
Oh,
had to bring that up.
that's such a bummer.
And so everyone comes in his room to talk about #Con, and they're all like jumping up and down. And Logan's like, the termites. And then like they sew like a CGI termite porn shoot.
Yeah, there's so much about this movie I don't understand.
And the CGI looks like early 2000s music video CGI.
Yeah. Whoever did like Linkin Park's music video was hired to do the termite scene.
Whoever did Crazy Frog did the termite scene. And then they fall through the roof, but it's shot so poorly because it's just clearly a cut to them jumping on the floor below, and then like some debris. I'm like, what? With all the fucking money and technology you guys have at your disposal, the best you could do is and then a cut like.
But do they though? Because I feel like a part of me feels like they don't have as much money as they want us to have. You know,
Logan Paul has a lot of money.
You really think so?
Yeah, because especially with like with boxing, with being in the WWE, his crypto scams, YouTube, like the guy's got a lot of money.
His net worth is $45 million. Okay.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, I feel like he's going bankrupt. Like this is a Donald Trump situation.
No, and it was probably less in 2019, but still between Logan Paul, King Batch, like people had
Casey
money.
Neistat.
Casey fucking Neistat. Who is only in this movie for a scene. Like apparently the guy who directed this movie, who's like a businessman, not even a director, was friends with Casey Neistat. That's the whole reason he did it. Like it wasn't like for Logan Paul.
Yeah, well,
like I like that even Logan Paul can't get Casey Neistat.
David Dinetz and Dylan.
Something with a T.
Yeah, it's like that, like Thistle or something. They were the ones that Trussell. Yes. They were the ones that directed
it, and it's the only like feature film they've directed.
Which is weird because they have an advertising company and an underwear brand.
Yeah, they have money, but I think they were just like, this is fine. We don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, they're like, we'll direct it. We have enough money to whatever. Like,
but yeah, between all of these people and all of this egregious amount of money, the best you could do is like we could shoot that.
Yeah, no, we should do that right now. Here, cut me, falling.
It's so, yeah. Because I just watched. I was like, come on, guys, come on. I know the money you guys are raking in. Come on.
Yeah, you can't fool us. We know.
If you don't give a shit about this movie, how is anyone supposed to give a shit about this movie?
That's the thing that just really. That's what kind of Shane Dawson had going for him with Not Cool, is that like you could tell he really wanted to prove that he was like a filmmaker. So like it was like, okay, like he tried a little bit,
he definitely made a lot of enemies throughout filming.
He made a movie. He certainly did.
And I will give credit to Logan Paul. It seemed like the set was a pretty positive place. It seemed like everyone that worked on this film had a good time.
Yeah.
There was no drama of like, Shane Dawson yelling at what was her name, Lauren?
Yeah, poor Lauren.
Berating her all the time, and she just goes to be like, "Well, I think like, oh, you're gonna go over there and talk to someone else about an idea."
Literally making her feel like shit. She's like, I think you should read like the audience concerns, and he's like, no. Like, okay, never mind. We actually don't care about your movie.
Yeah, and then so Logan doesn't want to go to #con because he doesn't want to fly, but then he realizes that, oh, it's in Australia and I can hook up with this Australian girl. And there's a lot of talk about like boomerangs and blowjobs. Like it's such a weird.
Yeah.
Like, King Batch goes on a whole rant about it.
A whole.
It's one of his only scenes in the movie, so you had to talk about it. Then there's also like them talking about getting laid, and like the microwave blows up for no reason just to smack Wampa in the face.
Mm-hmm. You want to know what made me kind of sad is the fact that I kind of chuckled at that. Well, just a little bit.
Because it's like basic slapstick, which is like at its core kind of funny, but
yeah, it was so stupid that I was like, what?
Well, it's just like by the time it gets to that scene, I'm already like brain dead,
Yeah, I'm already wanting it to be over and we're only 20 minutes in.
And then we get a talking lotion bit.
Super fun, very annoying orange of them.
What if it would have been voiced by like Lucas Cruikshank?
Oh god, that would have made it better.
Oh yeah, because if you're getting YouTubers, like I like Lucas Cruikshank.
Yeah, I think he's funny. I love Fred. We've talked about that before.
Well, I think his channel now is pretty good.
Yeah, no, I like Fred. I had the original Fred movie on DVD. Don't play with me.
I have all 3 Fred movies on DVD.
Fred fan, you're a Fred Figglehorner.
Is that Fred gang? But no, I do. I own all 3. I watched them when they premiered on Nickelodeon and recorded them on my DVR. I was in it. I had the episode. I had the episode of iCarly that he was on DVR'd as well. And also, fun fact, the first YouTube video I ever watched in my life was Fred Mayday.
Wow.
And that shit was on AOL, and it took me 4 hours to download it enough to watch it.
You're speaking a different language to me right now. AOL?
Yeah, so that's okay. If you want to talk about my YouTube fandom, that's where it was.
You were in the Fred fandom. You were a Fred Figglehorner, just admit
it. We are going to do the Fred movies, and I'm kind of excited to do those because while those are bad movies, I can at least have fun with them.
Yeah, and Jeanette McCurdy,
Daniela Monáe.
Yeah, he had a good cast.
Yeah, and also he's not a shitty person.
Yeah, like he's like fun to watch.
Yeah, so I have fun with it. But anyway, back to this movie we don't like.
Why can't we just do a movie we do like once?
And also to date this movie a little bit, prank YouTuber Vitaly is in this. Domestic abuser Vitaly.
Okay, I don't know about this. Who?
The guy who's like the Garland Green, where he's like all tied up and stuff. He's a prank YouTuber named Vitaly.
In real life?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why the gag is that like he's gonna prank everyone if he gets out, which is kind of funny. But
okay.
But yeah, he's also like was like a domestic assault charge and stuff like not too long after this. So
well, him and Curtis Lepore can share a jail cell.
I think he's actually in or was in jail. Like he's actually been through the system.
I did not know who he was or
one of the only people I knew.
Okay, great.
And it's only because I've seen a lot of videos about like the downfall of prank channels and shit, and he's one of like the bigger ones, like him, FouseyTube, and people like that.
Okay. Yeah. I know who that is.
But so that's why he's in this movie, is because he is a prank YouTuber but he actually is not a bad actor. Like, I mean, granted, he has to give like the stereotypical Russian shit, but at least he like tries to play a character and not just like, isn't it funny when YouTubers just talk loud and fucking move like this? Like, because that's what everyone else is bringing. Like at literally one point it cuts to King Batch, who's like, is this comedy? And you're like, no, it's not actually.
It's not. I'm not laughing. I haven't laughed yet. I'm completely straight faced the entire time I've watched this movie.
They somehow got Kevin Heffernan to do this movie because he plays like the what are they called? The agents on planes.
TSA?
Are they just TSA officers?
Well, now I'm not sure. What do you mean on the plane? Like, what do they do?
Well, because he's in charge of Vitaly's transportation, but also he's like it's they
Yeah,
always have like
yeah.
one person on the plane who's like the marshal, like the sky marshal or something like that, right?
The sky, the officer of the skies.
Yeah, exactly. The detective of the clouds.
Yeah.
So Kevin
No,
Heffernan is playing him, and Kevin Heffernan is from the Broken Lizard comedy troupe. They've done movies like Club Dread and
Okay.
Beer Fest and things like that. So like,
Okay, it sounds familiar, but I'm not like.
He's a pretty big comedic actor.
Okay.
I don't know how they got him on this because I feel like he's like, yes, he does a lot of slapstick comedy for sure, but he's better than this.
Well, that's why I'm still confused how they got Nick Swartz, because when I think of him, I think of like good movies, like
30 Minutes or Less, Reno 911.
Why did I immediately think of like Grown Ups and Benchwarmers? But those two,
those as well, sure.
Yeah, like
he's
I don't
done
know how
actual
he ended
movies.
up here. Yeah,
well, I think it's just that if you pay someone enough money, they'll show up.
For Logan Paul.
And I mean, like Kevin Heffernan, especially, I think he only shot like a day or two because he's killed pretty quickly in the movie.
Yeah, he was probably like, I have better things to do.
He only has to
wrap
shoot
this
like
up.
2 scenes, and most of them he's sitting in that seat.
Yeah.
So, to be fair to him, it was probably a very quick, like 1 or 2 day shoot, and he probably got paid a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
Nick Swartz has a much bigger role.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But you can tell the difference between the influencer actors and the actual comedic actors just by the quality of performance.
Yeah.
Because again, the influencer is like, oh, comedy? Is this working for you? And then meanwhile, people like Kevin Heffernan are like throwing jokes and bits into what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like some of his felt improv, like the point where he's like, I'm super racist, but I do love the queers. They have a lot of shows now, and I binge watch them. Like it just felt like such a him line.
I'm gonna have to check more of him out because I don't
watch
really
the
know
Broken Lizard movies. There's
Okay.
quite a few of them, and they're all pretty good. Like Club Dread's a slasher movie comedy. Beer Fest is pretty self-explanatory. There's like 5 or 6 movies that they've made together.
Okay.
Super Troopers is their big one. It's where they all play police officers, and it's that bit where he's saying meow instead of now when he's like pulled the guy over, and there's that whole bit where he's
That's
like,
so stupid.
You put your hands on the wheel, right? Meow. And he's like, are you saying meow? He's like, do I look like a cat to you? Do I look like I drink milk out of a bowl? Meow, get out of the car.
Okay, yeah. How did he end up with Logan Paul?
It must have been a good paycheck.
It must have been.
It's like in Jaws 4, they had oh shit, what's the actor's name? Really big time British actor. Played Alfred in the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Michael something.
Michael J. Fox.
No, it's not Michael J. Fox. But anyway, like that guy, he was in Jaws 4, and then when everyone asked him, like, "Oh, you were in like the worst Jaws movie," and he's like, "I haven't seen the movie, but like I have seen the house that it bought, and it is pretty nice." So
that is the most gangster thing I've ever heard in my life.
So, sometimes like if the bag was big enough, and again, Kevin Heffernan didn't have to do anything besides show up for like a couple of days. He didn't have to be involved with the press or anything in this movie. You could just be like, shoot his shit and leave. Whatever. But still, I was just like, wow, they got Kevin Heffernan. So then we meet, there's this girl, she was on Disney Channel. I think this must have been a Jake Paul connection. The girl that makes out with her parents and then spends the whole movie blowing the one guy.
The one with the short blonde hair?
Yes. She was in the Disney show Bunked.
Oh, the spinoff of Jessie. The one with the kids where they have in New York.
So she was in that. And then did this movie literally right after that show ended. So she must have just been like, I need to distance myself from Disney. How do I do that? I make out with people who are 50 years old and I simulate a blowjob for like 45 minutes. And I guess that's, do what you got to do to step away from
Sure, but like,
this wasn't the project to do it for, honey.
yeah, this was not it. You could have done something else.
Yeah. So yeah, we the TSA bit, like with Casey Neistat, there's like people putting like dildos through, they're like throwing people's bags. They go up to this line kind of made me laugh, is when the older TSA walks up to this girl and he's like, "You got anything dangerous on you?" She's like, "Just this bomb ass pussy."
Brittany Furlan is the one that says that line, and I don't like her either.
But that kind of made me laugh, just because it was this like, it's a dumb joke, but it still was like clever enough, you know.
We were really grasping for anything.
The bar is low.
The bar is so low.
Not cool.
Brittany Furlan.
Go ahead.
She is actually kind of interesting. She's married to Tommy Lee.
Like the drummer that was with like Pamela Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that such a weird connection?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And she was in The Dirt, like the movie about all of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're married. They were married in 2019 or something.
So when this movie came out?
Yep. It was that scene. He was like, I have to be with her.
He's like, I bet it is bomb ass pussy. I gotta get in it.
I don't like hearing you say that.
I didn't like saying it.
I need you to never say that to me again.
And her character just exists to be like the horror character.
Yeah.
Like that's her whole bit. Then we get an immigration scene, so it's just like a bunch of
course,
Latinos in a room with chickens and a guy being like, deported. And
I feel like this could have been an interesting take on like social issues, to be like,
that's too much to ask for this movie.
Yeah, you're right. Who am I?
There was one kind of funny joke when the chicken flies up to him and he's like, Benny, it's been so long.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
I blew air out of my nose at that part.
We're spending so much time just being like, is there comedy in this movie? And they're like, oh, this could be comedy. This might be comedy here.
I think we found it. The thing we're supposed to laugh at.
We did it. We found the comedy. It's like Dora the Explorer. It's like, do you see comedy back here? No, Dora, actually, I don't see any comedy back there. Well, how about over here? Is there comedy over here? I'm like, oh, there could be comedy there, Dora. And then they also do the one Muslim looking character. They have to do the cavity search gag, even though he's literally a guy with a button-up shirt, and he's like, I just have a laptop. Yeah. And they're like, no, we have a very distinct program, blah blah blah. But again, it's like, ugh, like of course.
As someone who has been searched by TSA and accused of having substances that could be dangerous, it's not a good feeling. It's not fun. Like, no. I was like 12, maybe, when this happened. Also,
you can have fun with the concept. It doesn't have to be a Muslim character.
It doesn't have to be the same thing we've seen every single time. It can be funny. Like,
you can subvert the expectation by having like a Muslim character walk through. No one says shit, and then like an old lady walks in, and they're like, "Hey, wait a goddamn second."
Yeah, like that would be like, okay, we're gonna take this stereotype, we're gonna turn it on its head, and no, it's something different and new and kind of funny. I mean, we're reaching here because Logan Paul, but I mean, still, like there's just so many jokes that are right there. Why haven't we just blown this movie up? Just blown into the sun. I don't want to see it anymore.
Just put it on a plane, fly the plane in the sun. But also there is again kind of funny bit when a girl is going through the little scanny thing and he's like, hey, stop twerking back there, and she's like, I'm not twerking. He's like, I'm just checking.
Yeah, okay, that's
kind of funny.
I did blow it out of my nose at that part, actually.
Because again, it's like we talked about, not cool. It's not the jokes that are at a 10. It's the shit that's at like a 4. That's the funny stuff, because you're like, I see what you're doing there, a little subtlety.
Yeah, but
that's not Logan Paul. Logan Paul's like, oh my god, what's going on, gang?
He's like, hey, what's up, you guys? We're gonna do this like really, and it's gonna be like super bright, and like that's gonna be entertaining because my viewers are 9, and it's like, well, that doesn't work in a long form rated R movie.
We're hanging out with porn star Riley Reid today, so make sure to smash that like button. Do the subscribes. Subscribe to the Logan. Like it's very like out of 10 all the time.
Yes.
And
Team 10 out of Team 10 at all times.
I didn't even think about to say that.
Sucks.
It's like it sucks. It sucks. It's all bad.
It sucks. I hate this.
Okay, so then we get on the plane finally, and at first Logan's like, "No, I don't want to get on the plane," and he does the fucking splits again when they're trying to get him on the plane. Fucking shut your fucking legs, Logan.
Close your legs, Logan.
You slut.
You whore. You dirty, dirty whore. Get on the plane.
So yeah, they get on the plane, and Logan gets to first class because he didn't want to be in the like what do they call that section?
With the pores.
The emergency row.
Oh yeah.
Where you have to help in case of an emergency. So like someone died in first class, even though they just boarded the plane.
Yeah.
And he gets their seat. And like they're handing out Frosties. So like this had to be like product placement. Like
I wrote that down. I said the obvious product placement is obvious.
Well, because it's like, yeah,
Wendy's Frosty, anyone on this Southwest?
Would anyone like a cool, refreshing Frosty on this hot summer day?
I barely got a water on my flight, and I was stranded for 4 hours back. Well, nobody coming around giving me a Frosty, all right?
You weren't in first class, though.
In fact, I think they expected us to give them Frosties.
They're like, go to Wendy's is down the block. Drive down there and come back. It's all right, plane. I'm going on a Wendy's run. Everyone Venmo me.
Do a Cash App. Do a PayPal. It's okay. We'll get it later. We'll get it later.
Get it later. We'll get it later. Just Frosty.
Chocolate or vanilla? Do you want fries to dip in it?
But you all take a burger. I wasn't asking. Frosty. See, that could have been a good bit.
Yeah. See, we should have been the ones to make this.
So then Logan, this is the point in the movie where I literally like I shut off the movie. I had to walk away. I had to come back, and I knew the scene was in there, but I forgot about it. So
I'm excited to hear what this scene is.
So Logan his mom is texting him because she's like, "What happened in the fucking house? Because the debris and shit's all over the floor." And then she is like sexting someone.
Yeah.
And sends a photo of like just a pineapple covering up her bits, and it's his actual mom.
Yes.
But like
it is.
They do this kind of thing in their videos like a lot, and it's very gross. Like,
oh yeah, Greg, his dad, it kisses his face. It's a weird. It's literally like an SNL sketch. It's very strange. They always have weird.
Well, their mom gets like really touchy with him, and it's like, hello, red flag here, red flag in the play.
Yeah, I don't trust it. I think their family tree is shaped like a wreath. If we were to do ancestry.com, that shit is a circle. I'm just saying it's a little weird.
Because it's like, okay, you can do this joke. It doesn't have to be your actual mom.
Yeah, like hire a random middle-aged white woman. It would have been fine. I promise you, it would have been fine. Because how many people are gonna know the lore and be like, "That's his real mom"? If anything, we're all hoping it's not. So like, that didn't add anything.
It's weirder that it is.
Yeah, and it's not even like shockingly funny. It's just like, oh, okay.
It's like, okay, all right, Logan. Because I had to walk away because it popped up and I was like, fuck, that's his mom. And I like swiped the movie away and I was like, oh.
It's like, I didn't want to say that.
I was like contemplating my life for a minute. But yeah, it's so bad. So bad. Then we meet the love interest who comes in where it's like, what are you looking at? He's like, it's my mom. She's like, you look at the news photos of your mom. Yeah, she is.
Yeah, he in fact is. Chloe Bridges.
Is that her actual name?
Yeah, she's in Camp Rock too.
I know your opinions on Camp Rock 2. That's why I laugh for the audience.
She's also in Pretty Little Liars, which I know her from, and New Girl, which I know her from.
Okay, so you see her a lot.
I have seen her a lot.
So she's
Yes.
like an actual actress. She's not an influencer.
Yeah, when she popped up, I was like, hey, I know her. And then I was like, where do I know her from? And then I was like, Camp Rock 2, the final jam.
It all comes back to Camp Rock 2. Throws the city.
I almost threw my laptop. I couldn't do it anymore.
So yeah, she's kind of like the straight man to the comedy. Like she doesn't really go for the far off comedy bit. She's more of like a actual character in the movie. Like she still does some ridiculous stuff, but it's not as quite egregious. Probably because she's an actress.
Actual real life trained actress.
It's the same thing and not cool. It's like, yeah, Tori's character could have been even more abysmal if it was like Trisha Paytas.
That's a image.
And I love Trisha Paytas, but she's no actress.
You love Trisha Paytas?
I do.
Okay, that's a hot take.
I didn't say I agree with the things that she does, but it's there's some influencers who like Logan Paul, where they do all this fucked up shit, and you know they're very like conscious of the fucked up shit that they're doing. Whereas like Trisha, I think she's just a mess. You know what I mean?
She's a chicken nugget. She doesn't know.
But like she's not in control of her life. And she's just kind of reacting to things. Like Trisha Paytas isn't setting out to actively like hurt people. She's just a not mentally there person.
I guess.
And that does not excuse any of her actions. I want to make that very clear. But I can kind of ride the drama wave of Trisha Paytas, whereas more of like Logan and Jake Paul, it just feels gross because like they're knowingly just trying to milk money out of literal children and toddlers, and that's very gross and it's not cool. And also there's layers. There's the onion, the rotting, decaying onion that is the Paul legacy.
Legacy is a way to put it.
I mean, they have created careers. I didn't say they were bad businessmen. They're just really shitty people.
How do they have a career is the question.
They played it smart. And they were able to capitalize on trends on the internet.
They had toddlers.
There was nothing they weren't willing to do, including getting nudes from their mother. Sponsored by Wendy's.
Yeah, I know. Wendy's, what were you doing? Did you preview that movie before you put
Also, the airline is called Koala Air.
Yeah.
I just had to bring that up.
I thought it was kind of clever. I was like, okay, I get it. It's like Australian, like koala.
And then we
okay.
have the two pilots who are played by actual comedic actors. They both had quite the careers themselves. I think one of them is also in the Broken Lizard troupe, the penis one, where he's like, it's a Celtic name.
Yeah, Chris Wilde. He's in Joe Dirt, The Revenant, The Duh, Fred 2, and Coyote Ugly.
Okay, so he's had a career. And then the other guy who has the lisp, he's been in quite a bit. Like I've seen him often.
Eric Griffin. He's in Murder Mystery, the movie with Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler. Yeah, that's what I recognized him from.
So yeah, these are two like pretty good actors, and their dynamic is fun.
Yeah, like, no, I genuinely thought Chris Wilde was funny because he also plays the air traffic Benji, the one that tries to talk them through landing the plane. So he was also one of the better characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like this, the pilot's dynamic, like the one with the lisp does the announcement. He's like, "How is that?" He's like, "Yeah, you really got through that, man. You did a good job." And he's like, "Yeah, I've been taking speech classes."
Yeah, that was yeah.
And then the other one's like just drinking the shooters that are in the bar and shit. And then like when the panel starts sparking, he's like, "Did you spill on it?" He's like, "No, Dad, I didn't spill on the panel." Yeah. If they have I wish they were a bigger part of the movie.
Yeah. Like if we were to be any characters in this movie, we would be them.
So yeah, we talked about the pilots. Mm-hmm. So pretty much every non-influencer is fine in this movie. Basically. And then we get the woman with the baby, whose whole thing is that like she's trying to find like a new dad and start like a new life for this baby.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird angle.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Anyways, moving on. Like.
Then we get Dobrik and the horny lady who's she's on her way to like have sex with a guy she had sex with like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I appreciated the bit.
Yeah. Because because David Dobrik isn't there, it doesn't go on very long. And then Logan and I think her character's name is Jenna, right?
Yes.
They have like matching femur scars, which is a bit. But again, like, why are you pulling your pants down in an airplane? Like, shouldn't someone be like, hey, no?
One thing about an airport, if you take any clothing off in the airport, you are freaking weird. I don't trust people that wear sandals in an airport. Don't wear sandals. Why are your dogs out in a place where so many other dogs are out? And it just doesn't make any sense to me. Put your socks on. It's so unsanitary. Wash your hands. Keep your socks on. There's no reason to have any body parts exposed in an airport or on an airplane. Your stale, like, corn chip smelling feet. Put your socks on. I hate these type of people.
This public service announcement has been brought to you by the TSA.
That just is on the TV before you go through security.
It's your fucking corn chip. We're talking to you. Put them on. That'd be a good sketch. That'd be a good bit. See, we're writing this movie. We need to write airplane mode better. Then there's also this guy who is only in like 2 scenes in the movie who has like tiny arms and legs.
That's Curtis Lepore.
That's Curtis Lepore. Because I thought the bit was funny. It's not. It kind of reminded me of Kristen Wiig's character on SNL, Dunice, who has like the big forehead and the doll hands. Mm-hmm. So it's like a much less funny version of that.
Yeah, well, you were seeing it as someone who doesn't know who that is.
Yeah, you were seeing it like, oh, I hate this fucker, get him off my screen. You know,
yeah,
watching the movie. So I mean, we had 2 very different experiences with that scene.
I had a very hateful experience during that scene.
You're like, I bet you have your fucking toes out in the airport, you fucker.
He probably does. Freak.
Then we get more Kevin Heffernan, like he's like the guy who got like frisked at the airport, like just turns around because he's like shoving all this food in Vitaly's mask. Is like Hannibal Lecter mask. First it's a banana, and then he's like, got cheese. He's like, oh, you got cheese in Russia? How about that? We get a little grater right here. And then he's like, my favorite part, he's like, yeah, we'll have fucking Choco Taco here. You got a tolerance? It's just like, I love Choco Tacos, but 2, it's such a random thing to throw in there.
I don't know what that is.
So it's like, you know, the ice cream that like has like the chocolate in the cone and it's like layered and it's like chocolate covered ice cream with like the nuts and stuff, like those like sundae cone kind of deals.
A drumstick?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's like that, but like shaped like a taco. So like the cone is like the taco shell, the ice cream is in the taco shell, and then there's like the chocolate and the nuts on the outside. It's called Choco Taco. So that's why he's like, Choco Taco. You able to take your dairy? Like it.
I feel like I'd be into that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But again, it's just like a very specific thing to throw in the scene that I thought was funny. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if there was like multiple takes with like other food items.
Yeah.
You know? Because I could just watch Kevin Heffernan do bits all day. Okay, so there's also this plot thread in the movie where Logan can hear gay men's thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
And I found that actually kind of funny because one, they don't overuse it. It's only like 3 times in the movie, and it's actually like some key pivotal moments are with it. Mm-hmm. Because the first time, like the flight attendant is like doing his like instructional bit, but in his head he's like talking about fucking Logan.
Yeah.
And Logan's like, I hear you. And he's like, and he like throws the curtain back and stuff like that. It's funny.
What I found interesting about that is that the joke actually drives the plot forward. Okay, how am I gonna put this? I can look past some stereotypically unfavorable jokes if they have a purpose.
And this one kind of does.
And that's what's bad about it, is it's probably the most it's probably the most understandable joke, because it's like, okay, like, he uses his thoughts to help him, like, land the plane, and it's a
Yeah.
whole thing. It's
It
like,
comes into
okay,
play a few times.
yeah, it's like, it's not. I was like, okay,
And it's
I
kind
get
of
it,
funny
I
because
get
later
it.
he's like, "You can't hear my thoughts," and he's like, "Yes, I can." Like,
Yeah, no, yeah.
there's actually some fun comedy in it.
Yeah, and they brought it back just when I forgot that it
Yeah.
happened, so then I was
It
like, "Oh,
wasn't
yeah, that's."
overused. It wasn't like every scene he was doing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I will say that bit is pretty good. And there's another bit we'll get to
Mhm.
later that I thought was actually pretty funny. You gotta find the comedy. It's like the Where's Waldo of comedy.
I s- with my little eye, something with
It's like, it's here. It's
hair.
actually here in the back. That's comedy right there.
I
That's it
hate
right there.
Logan Paul's hair. He's been through a windstorm.
And it's always been like that. He's always had that hair.
It makes me so angry. He always looks like he's been in one of those like Walmart arcade, like hurricane simulator type things.
Well,
I'm just like,
how do you not
brush
change
your
your
hair.
hairstyle in like 20 years?
Exactly. I change my hairstyle every month. How do people do this?
It's dedication. He's like, it's part of my brand. He didn't have an emotional shaving his head scene in this movie like Shane Dawson did.
Ugh, why did you make me think of that?
You're welcome.
Ugh.
So then they're like, hey, everyone, put your phones to airplane mode because that's the name of the movie. And everyone's like, no.
It's the name of the movie!
And they're like, we're influencers. We ain't doing that. And then everyone's like selfieing and videoing. And it's like a big like party thing. So which causes interference and is why the plane kills the pilots. They get shocked to death and end up in like a blowjob position.
Okay, that I'm not gonna say it was funny, but I was like, okay, this isn't the worst joke in the movie.
Well, because the stewardess keeps coming in and she's like, oh God, of course this happens on my first day. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? Could be comedy.
It could be. Is it?
Could be.
Is it comedy? I think it might be.
Let's look at the board. Survey says that's comedy. All right.
Ding ding
Who
ding
would
ding
have thought?
Side note, I think the girl that plays the flight attendant, I cannot tell because it's difficult on IMDb to tell. I think the actress's name is Michaela Hoover. And
Okay.
she was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 3, and she was in the Suicide Squad. So, like, some of these people have gone on to do things, which
And
I
they just-
find interesting.
Well, sometimes, yeah, you have to throw a shitty movie in your filmography. You can't be Tom Hanks. You can't just be throwing up W's all the time.
Yeah.
Also, before the pilots die, though, there is this funny thing where they're riding the plane. He goes, "Oh shit, we're going the wrong way." And he's like, "Oh, yep, we're going the wrong way." And he's like, "All right, we're gonna have to flip a bitch." And he's like, "Yep, that is the technical term that we use as pilots called flipping a bitch."
Yeah, they were the best part of the movie. By
really
far. Good. Yeah.
And that felt the most like Airplane because it was just like joke. Like it wasn't like we don't need to relish in the moment. We're just gonna keep throwing shit out there. And it's all wit and whatever clicks in your brain and makes you laugh works, but we're not going to dwell on it. We're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
So we got through that. And then so the unfasten your seatbelts thing comes up, and then this girl's like, unfasten, you mean turn up? Which is a literal line from the movie. And then everyone just starts partying. It's like the beginning of Not Cool. It's slow-mo. There's a bunch of outrageous gags happening in the background. There's sex dolls. There's people making out and drinking. There's this girl twerking on a guy's face who seems very unfazed by everything happening around him.
Yeah, he's like, this is normal. This is Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. So we get the montage. And the plane literally like fucks the cloud. Like, because they do like this with it, and it's doing like the title like boom, 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 boom. I was like, ugh, that's like a YouTube edit. That's not even like a film edit.
No, they definitely edited this on CapCut on someone's iPhone 9.
So yeah, that I saw that and I was like, God damn it.
This just gets worse.
The slutty girl goes to the liquor cabinet, and the flight attendant's is like, "You're a basic bitch. Get out of my cockpit." That interaction's kind of funny. Like, you're the kind of girl that goes to Cancun, sucks a bunch of dicks. Get out of my cockpit. Like, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So they literally take a joke straight from Airplane here, and they do a few, but this is the most like almost word from word, except they took the joke and made it not funny.
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say.
The line in Airplane is that this kid's talking to another kid,
Yep.
and then she's like, I'll take my coffee like I like my men black.
Yeah.
And the other kid just looks at her, and that's it. And it's funny because that's it. You hear a little kid say something fucked up, and then we don't dwell on it. This one, there's a little kid who's like, I take my coffee like I take my women, black and full of cream. So they took the initial joke, put it up a little more, and then the woman spits her drink out and then reacts.
Nothing better than a spit take. I love that.
So it's like they stole a joke, but they didn't even do it right.
Yeah, it's that, like, we have to be at a 10 at all times. We can't just make it funny and move on. We need to keep pounding the joke in. Is this funny? Like, it's like, okay.
Cuts back to King Batch. That's fucking Airplane mode script writing.
So basically, if the joke isn't working, we'll just cut to King Batch and he'll just bounce around and it'll be great.
Hey, is comedy? Is this comedy here?
Yeah.
And then like
is
a 5-year-old's like,
no.
Yeah, kind of. He's doing a silly little dance.
We need to have a separate podcast, and it just needs to be called "Is This Comedy?" And at the end, we're just like, "No, it's not. Actually, it's not.
This is not comedy.
Not comedy. Sorry."
So yeah, I got mad because I was like, man, I could be watching Airplane right now, which is like most of this movie. And then Logan feels the need to like speed run the fluid gags. Like, we get some snot, we get pudding that's supposed to be shit, we get snorting, because he's like, oh, she makes me snort, and that's why it's funny, but she literally makes him snort by doing the most like low bar thing. She just throws pudding at a guy, and he's like, isn't it like super dorky and relatable? It's like, no, you're Logan Paul. You're literally like the 0.01% of douche. Like,
yeah,
God.
I don't even have any words. Like, that's how bad this is like, it's bad. It's just bad, and I don't have anything else to say about it besides the fact that it's bad.
So they finally discover the pilots are dead. Vitaly gets out, kills Kevin Heffernan, and now the plane is crashing, and there's a serial prankster on the loose. Or wife beater, whatever, which one is scarier to you in the moment.
Both are equally terrifying. I think at this point in the movie is when I wrote the note, literally, what is the plot? I forget. I'm not kidding.
And then so Nick Swartzen finds the baby who gets away from the mom and then like breastfeeds it. And there's a lot of like squirting milk out. Like, that's the gag. But like, instead of like basketball where they do it like once or twice, like he does it like a lot.
Oh, that just reminded me of the last scene. So many fluids. Put your fluids back in your body. I don't want to see your fluids. Yeah, keep your fluids to yourself.
Yeah, and then he like does a Lion King moment, which I kind of like scoffed at, where he's just like, one day this all will be yours, but they're on a fucking airplane.
Yeah.
Wampa also selfies with the dead bodies, which is used to show people that they're telling the truth later, but still, it's like, why would you ever have a reaction like that? Well, even in a comedy movie.
If you're Logan Paul, you do.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't pop out and take videos of it and then post it on YouTube uncensored to make money off of a deceased individual. Should have been his line. He should have been the one to do it. Freak.
He definitely wrote that bit, though.
Yeah, he did. And then later he was like, it'd be so funny.
It's like, we do what we did in Airplane mode.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm so glad you brought that up, because a note I wrote down was, I'm surprised he didn't record and post the pilots' bodies as soon as possible. Oh wow. You all right?
All good. So Wampa then goes to try to hook up with the slutty girl because he's like, we're gonna die. I need to like get rid of this virginity.
That's
Because that's his
the
only
number one thing on my bucket list before I die.
exactly.
Not saying bye to my mom. Nah.
And then Logan's like crying and yelling because that's all of his comedy.
Yelling.
Yeah, it's just like saying things very loudly. But there is some bits in here that I found kind of funny. There's some shreds of comedy. Not a lot, not enough to warrant the board, but there's some shreds of comedy. Okay. So when they're going through the bit and he keeps going like, do you know how to fly a 737? And then she'll say something. He's like, okay, but do you know how to fly a 737? Like, that's kind of funny.
Okay, yeah.
The whole rest of the scene isn't, but that snippet, because it's like, obviously she doesn't know how to, she would bring it up if she knew how to fly this plane.
I got so tired of the stupid emergency autopilot landing joke. I was like,
okay, I kind of found that one funny.
No,
just only when he's talking to the Aussie pilot and he's like, okay, you have no worries, just take that big orange stick, pull it, the plane will literally land itself. And then he's like, could you describe it a little better? And he's like, you can't miss it. It's a big orange stick right in the center console. Just throw that thing up there and you'll be landing in no time. And he's like, anything else about it?
Like, yeah, it's just the amount of times they bring it up.
But yeah, 6 characters literally go like, oh yeah, all you can do is pull the autopilot and the plane will literally land itself. And then he's like, got it.
Yeah, no, see, that's
yeah, it definitely gets used too many times. But in that initial, when the guy is telling him, and then he's like, he knows that he fucked up, but he's like, are you sure it's not anything else? And he's like, man, I don't know why you're not understanding this. It's the big, or it says autopilot on it. Yeah. Pull it up and you're good. And he's just like, okay, what if it's not on there? Well, you're fucked. You definitely have much more worries, which was initially 0.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing, is the guy who is an actual actor
is
a funny bit. Yeah.
Where he's like, yep, and I don't like talking to dead people, so I'm gonna go out to get some lunch, and you guys.
I was like, this is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I don't want to be part of this. You guys, you probably won't figure it out. You're definitely fucked, but like, you guys, we're gonna go to tacos. We're gonna go to tacos. So later. So yeah, that happens. Vitaly runs loose. He takes the flight attendants, ejects the one who found the blowjob scene from the plane. And okay, there's another kind of funny bit here where he's like threatening to feed a dog cat food, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you monster!"
Yeah, that bit, like, it made me
but they did it twice, and it was only gonna work once.
Yeah, that's
because Logan comes in later, and then he's like doing it. He's like, "Why is he feeding the dog cat food?" But it's like, if you did it once, it'd be really funny. But because you did it twice, it's now like, all right, we get it.
And the first time was iffy because it was you. Know? So we were already pushing it.
But yeah, and then we also get a bit with like Nick Swardson keeps the baby, even though it's clearly not his baby, but she's like, okay, I guess I can't find my baby, because she's like, I'm looking for a baby, and he's like, oh, that's so sad. What's it look like? And she's like, a baby. He's like, wow, definitely haven't seen one of those around here.
That was one of those things where it was just so random that I was like, is she gonna get the baby back?
And she doesn't.
She doesn't. She never gets the baby back.
So then we get everyone finding out the plane's going to crash. There's some panic. Batch gets ejected from the plane, even though in the credits he's shown to not be dead somehow. There's a vomit joke where Lele Pons is vlogging in the plane and gets puked on and just sits there with the puke on her, still vlogging. Sure.
Is this comedy?
That is not comedy. Hold on. Survey says, cue the red X.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not comedy.
Yeah. It's not. Oh, I hate this movie. Why? I didn't need it and I didn't want it.
And then Vitaly stabs the guy who is like only existence is like, I'm a hot guy who gets blown the whole movie.
Yeah. Nick. Oh God, what's his name? Hang on. He was interesting to me.
He doesn't do anything other than
Nick
like.
Bateman.
Mhm.
He was in My Babysitter's a Vampire. I recognized him, and I was like, I need to go look him up. My Babysitter's a Vampire.
And then through the gay Star Wars Force talk, Logan learns the oxygen is poisoned and they can't use it.
I really liked that part. He's like, the oxygen is poison, and she's like, how did you know that?
This is weird, like mask thing that she's like about to put on. He's like, no,
yeah,
the oxygen is poison. She's like, okay.
Yeah, that was actually kind of funny.
And so Logan and Vitaly fight. Vitaly is ejected into the plane turbine. But like when they're fighting, he's like, it's just a prank, bro. And he like points to the dead body. He's like, look at this guy. He was totally in on it. It was okay. Like I said, Vitaly wasn't horrible in this movie. And then they do this weird, it was like last for Not Cool when we talked about like the Shane Dawson-esque delivery of a line. This line is also like a Shane Dawson delivery when she's like, you go get it. He's like, oh, I'm going to get it. She's like, oh, you better go and get it because you're getting good. Go and get it. And like they keep doing that. And then one girl's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And then they go into the thing. That seemed very Shane Dawson-y.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because if you say the same thing over and over again, it's funny.
Well, and it's like the joke isn't what you're saying, it's the way you're saying it, which usually doesn't work.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, what's the joke? There's no joke.
And it goes on like way too long.
Yeah.
So then Logan's looking at YouTube videos to show how to land the plane, and I thought this made sense. Like if you're making an influencer airplane, of course, you would look it up on YouTube. And the kid that they're watching, like his sister pops in and Logan's like, fuck you, Becky. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I did think that was kind of funny.
I think it goes on way too long and they do a little too much with it. But it is kind of funny. But he lands the plane, everyone's safe. Nick Swartzen keeps the baby and drinks his own cum.
Let's just get right past that. Like
the old lady blows a guy literally on his deathbed for some reason outside of the plane. Like they wheeled him on the tarmac.
Yeah, he was on his deathbed. It was kind of sweet.
Logan calls Wampa his brother. He punches the air traffic control guy. And then he takes Wampa to go hook up with the Aussie girl since he's with Jenna now. And so Wampa does that. Her non-Australian dad comes in.
Yeah. Okay. I did write a note about this.
Because the joke was supposed to be her dad is black, but
yeah,
he doesn't have an accent, but he lives in Australia and she has a very stereotypical accent. What happened there?
I don't know. I could tell it was one of those things was like, wouldn't it be so funny if the dad didn't look or sound anything like the daughter? And it was like, no. Nobody likes it.
The joke is already that he doesn't look like her.
Yeah, you could have
just did that. It's not
ended it,
joke, but you could have just did that. But the fact that you're like he doesn't look or sound like her now just is weird.
Yeah, it would have been even more subtly funny if he looked like her but didn't sound like her. But didn't have the accent. Like, why does he? Or if he was like British or something, like completely weird. And
that way you didn't have to play on a racial joke.
Yeah, because that was once again just a cheap, like, okay, you're being racist. What else is new, Logan Paul?
Oh, I forgot about this. The reporter's reporting on it, and this guy pops in and is like, "Fuck her in her pussy." And I thought they could have done. Actually, they should have done more with this bit where the reporter is then like, "God damn it! Every time I try to do something, someone always pops up and says something." Like, you know, we could have had a visceral reaction from her, and that would have been kind of funny because it's weird that she just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, that whole bit I didn't like because I was like, I don't understand. Like it never went anywhere. It was just super random. It felt like they cut the second part. It was just kind of like
that's what they chose to cut.
And they kept like that, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Okay.
And then Logan goes to Jenna, and at first she has like this like really like muscled up guy in her room, and Logan's like, oh shit, but then he can hear his thoughts, and he's like, oh. It's cool. He's gay. And that's kind of
Yeah.
funny because it comes in again.
Yeah, I did kind of enjoy that a little bit.
He then goes into like the kid YouTuber. He like breaks into his room and like beats up the sister, and then
Yeah.
like the boy breaks his femurs. Because I thought it would have just been funny if Logan like throws the door open, hits Becky, and then he's like, "You go, kid." But it's that they took it a step further and had the
With the
femur bit.
femurs,
And
we get
it was like,
it. Yeah,
okay, we get it.
we get it. We understand the femurs.
And I was airplane mode. Now, was it as bad as Not Cool? I say I would prefer this to Not Cool, but that's like if you said like, would you want to be stabbed or shot? I don't want to watch either of these movies ever again.
Mhm.
But it seems like Airplane Mode didn't have the drama surrounding it that Not Cool did.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me because
You
I
hate Curtis before.
I hate both of the casts.
Yeah. But also Not Cool has Drew Monson and also
Drew
has
Monson,
the actress who played Tori. Like both movies have some like decent people. But I think because both were trying to be raunchy comedy, this one leaned more into the like felt more like belonged as a raunchy comedy, and also had more comedic actors who lent to that thing.
If I had to watch another one again, I would pick Airplane Mode.
But again, it's like begrudgingly. It's like I would never just be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna throw on Airplane Mode."
This movie beat me down.
I don't know. I had more of a hard time with Not Cool, but maybe because it was the first one. You know, now I kind of like the ball's rolling a little bit, and I kind of know how this is gonna go. Or I also knew more what to expect with Airplane Mode than I did Not Cool. I don't know what. It's just something about it. Maybe shorter. It was like 10 minutes shorter.
Maybe at one point I did write a note that said, "I cannot effing believe this is 80 minutes." Because it felt like 2000. At one point I literally like looked and we were like 15 minutes into the movie and I was like, I've been here an hour. How is this actually possible? It felt so long.
Whereas the second time I watched it, I did 20-minute increments because I had to like walk away, do some laundry, come back.
I had seen it once before, and then about 2 days ago, when you said we're gonna do this, I rewatched it again so I could like actually remember, and I just completely did it in one go, which I don't recommend for anyone who doesn't want to end up in a mental institution, because I almost lost my mind.
Yeah, because like I watched it like a few and I'd never seen this before because I actively avoid movies like this that I know I'm just gonna hate. And because like nothing about this movie said like I need to watch it, right? So I watched it for the first time a couple days ago. It was just as bad as I thought it was going to be, and then I was then like, oh well, I have to watch it again, so now I have to dread doing that for a couple of days, and I did it today. And now here we are. We got through it. It can't hurt us anymore, potentially.
I never have to watch this movie again. I'm throwing all my notes away. I'm trying to see if there's anything on here interesting that we did not talk about.
And then now we got to figure out what YouTuber movie we're doing next.
I love that it has a 1.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
I feel like that's a fair rating.
But it has a 53% on Google. Like the Google user.
That's not good.
That is not accurate though, because I was expecting like a good solid like 10. Maybe I'm overestimating.
Maybe there's only like 4 Google reviews and
they're all
like okay, and then like you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's only 4 Google reviews. 2 of them are just a pile of clothes, and the other 2 are Jake and Logan Paul.
Like, this is cinema. I thought that this has deep comparisons to Citizen Kane.
Not Citizen Kane. And there's also not a Rotten Tomatoes score. This is the first movie I've come across that
Rotten Tomatoes is like, no.
Rotten Tomatoes was like,
we're not doing this.
They were like, no, we're not even letting that on the site.
Like, you know what it is. We don't need to tell you it's bad.
Yeah, like Not Cool had a Rotten Tomatoes score.
But Not Cool had like a bigger release because this got delayed. I think it went like straight. Wasn't it on like? I think it went straight to Amazon. Like streaming. I don't think it had a
It could have
theatrical
been.
release. Not Cool had like a Stars release and had like
That is true. It
select
had a show
theaters,
around
had
it.
a show around it. It had a bigger release, whereas Airplane Mode was shelved because of a actual controversy, and then they're like, well, we'll just throw it out there and see what it does.
Well, what I think is interesting too is that there is another movie. Did you notice another movie called Airplane Mode that came out a year after?
Yeah, wasn't it a short film or something? Because I kept seeing that when I was trying to find this one.
Yeah, it's a 2020 Brazilian comedy film about it went straight to Netflix.
Because yeah, every time I typed in Airplane Mode, like that would pop up first, and I was like, I would rather watch that, but I'm trying to watch the shitty Logan Paul movie.
I know, because like I kept like trying to Google, and then I would come across
Google's
this
like,
movie.
no, you want this one. You don't want that one. That one's not even there.
Yeah, it doesn't even similar plot, but I just can we do something that we like for once?
Well, we're gonna do one more YouTuber movie, and then we're gonna have a palate cleanser with Skeleton Twins.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so that's gonna do it for us here on this installment of the podcast. Let us know what you guys think. What was your experience with Airplane Mode and the people involved?
Were you ever blocked by someone that was in Airplane Mode?
Could that be like a game? It's like it's like a bingo card of like blocked from people on Airplane Mode. Like you can fill out the card.
Feels good.
And then so join us next time where we talk about Camp Dakota.
You're never gonna see it, right? It's okay.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not kidding. I just learned about
Raising
it a minute
Dakota?
ago. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna do that next. So be on the lookout for that. Until next time, stay safe, stay nerdy.